and everybody watching, of course, this includes mothers and extremely attractive girls like Mary's niece from
they
the
probably
Real Housewives
don't.
of Victoria.
They probably don't measure up to Mary's niece, but maybe
or
they're
Vancouver,
close.
I mean. Yeah, no, I don't think many people measure up to her. But people can try, and in their efforts, I feel that they can find excellence.
And we appreciate their attempts.
We do appreciate their attempts. It's going to be the Pilates, it's going to be the yoga, and watch what you eat. There's calories. They'll get you. They'll get you every time. Now, it is going to be DDE from Team It's GoSu going up against It's GoSu Ostojiy. Is that correct? Are they both on that team?
They're both on GoSu, yeah.
We'll all be damned. Good performance here. This is the lower bracket, if I'm not mistaken. I think both these players have been knocked down. They're also been there for a while.
Scarlet versus Dodoro in the winner bracket final, so everything else is loser bracket here. But they have both already qualified for the North American finals in Raleigh at this point, I believe. So right now they're just playing for placement and prize money.
Well,
a very significant chunk of prize money.
They can still win this thing, to be honest with you. It's just a harder road for them.
Yeah.
I think we're waiting on, let's see. Let's see if we're...
DD was going to the restroom.
Yeah. But this is going to be a ZVT. DD has been practicing Zerg, but I'm thinking in this tournament, from what I understand, he hasn't played any Zerg at all. I think he's gone with his Terran. Even in the TVT matchups would be only thing I could see him doing that for.
Potentially. We did cast a TVZ of his earlier.
Yeah.
Who was it against?
Gosh, who was that?
It was Kane. It was LGN Kane.
Kane, right.
And he won that, I believe, 2-1 with Marauder Hellion Mullins and other really aggressive builds. That's just kind of DD style in general.
Yeah. And again, NASL is wrapping up their final match of the night as well, so you should be dual streaming this if you're a responsible human being. This is going to be a great match, but that must be an awesome match too.
They're really, really loud. It must be. They're always really loud because this is such a great audience. With Red and Alicia, I think they are ready.
Yep, we're ready to go.
Yeah, we're heading into the game, and it is going to be on Cloud Kingdom. Not exactly sure where this is in the losers bracket. I think it might be losers like quarters. They have to play 2 more matches to get into the finals.
DD's the host. All right, now we're underway. I'm not sure if this is our final match or we have one more.
I think we have one more after this.
There might be another one.
Might be the winner of this for Sotero.
I think so. In the best scenario, you're going to get 2 Idra and In Control casted games. In the worst scenario, this is the last time we see you guys today. But, of course, tomorrow we'll be back with the final rounds of WCS. We'll be casting that on the main stage, if I'm not mistaken.
We definitely have the finals on the main stage.
Yep.
The other matches may still be back here, but obviously still us, so it's just as good.
And I'm excited about that. WCS, we've talked about this. I think it's an amazing tournament. They're doing a great job. And, I mean, Canada, Nordic, Eastern Europe is coming up. That's actually this next weekend. I believe China's going on right now. These are some of the best countries, and they're having their own little internal wars to determine who's going to be represented in the global scale. I think that's awesome.
And a lot of these countries, a lot of these regions don't have internal tournaments that often. You don't really get to see who's the best American player, who's the best Canadian player, who is the best Chinese player. And a lot of time you don't even get to see any of the Chinese players. So this is a great opportunity to see a lot of those players, to see a lot of those situations you never usually get to.
Like we were able to prove that Vibe is the best American player.
Yes, we did.
So we're actually in game right now. If production could put us there, Greg and I will babble as even when the camera's not on us. What did Mike just say?
Scoreboard.
You were waiting for scoreboards, Mike? Really?
We cannot show the game screen if there are not names on top of it.
Is that what you were doing, Mike? Okay. Well, now the scoreboard's up and we're still not in. So
maybe they just want to leave us on screen.
Yeah.
That gets more
We are
viewers in
handsome.
the game.
This is great.
Very, very handsome.
I think I look better.
My left side has a little bit more hair left, so I'll stay like this.
Trying to, how far back does my chin go? There, that's about right.
Dignified. There we go.
Ah!
And now we're in game, just as we got our pose perfect.
Yeah. Let's do some player introductions. Lower left-hand side, well, I was going to say Canadian, but come on, that's a little bit redundant. The Terran player, DDE, from Team It's GoSu. And on the top right-hand side, his teammate, the Zerg, Ostojiy. And Ostojiy has made appearances in the Blizzard Invitational, as well as the Red Bull LAN. Did not do so hot in either of those, but again, he's one of the up-and-coming players, I would say. He has been for a while, but that doesn't rob him of that title.
No, he's one of those players who gets very, very little recognition, but he's always around. He's always practicing on the NA ladder. He can take games off good players in a lot of different circumstances. Unfortunately, he's one of those players who also struggles a lot due to nerves and due to inexperience at LANs. He was not a competitive player before StarCraft 2, and he hasn't been able to go to a lot of LANs in StarCraft 2 because he still goes to school. He still has other stuff going on. He hasn't been able to commit fully to being a pro gamer just
He actually
yet.
played in the a CSL match here as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he's playing CSL, WCS. Well, I was going to say NASL, but that's just not true.
Yeah.
He's still playing 2 tournaments, though. That's a lot.
And here, DD, the first match we saw of him, he sent these 2 Marines out. He caught an Overlord, and he will get this one as well. He's just so conscientious about that when a lot of other Terrans neglect it. They assume that because the Overlord's so fast, it's going to get away now. You're not going to have that opportunity. But more often than not, you actually can. We see this Overlord will fall. And as a Zerg player, that's just the most annoying thing that can happen in the early game.
Wow, that is interesting. That's an engineering bay block at the 3rd.
Yep. DD loves little stuff like that. We saw the bunker blocks in some maps. This is not a good map for it. The bunker block doesn't fit anywhere.
No.
So instead, just putting down an eBay to block the 3rd base. Obviously not very comfortable going up against the current macro style TVZ, as most Terrans aren't. So he'll go to pretty great extent to prevent the Zerg from getting the Mass Queen build out, from getting that 3rd base down very quickly. And I think that's a really smart move from him. As a Zerg player, this is incredibly annoying.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah,
that's
DD,
just annoying. That's awesome.
Yep. DD absolutely known for doing cute little things like this. Good call by Ostojiy to actually go ahead and take that out. But again, that eBay is just down there. That's going to delay the 3rd base a long time. It's actually forcing...
It's going to finish, Greg. The Marines coming here. As long as the SCV doesn't miraculously get picked off.
It's going to be close. Oh, it is actually going to finish. That's such a big hassle for Ostojiy. He actually does go ahead and just put down the double gas. He's given up on taking the 3rd base immediately.
Yeah.
And DD actually realizes and cancels the bunker. So interesting little mind games going on. These 2 players are teammates. That factors in quite a bit.
Yeah.
You're playing mind games constantly with your teammates just because you play each other so often. You know each other so well.
Now, why finish the engineering bay? He actually went back to that and specifically did that.
He's going to repair it and replace some of the HP, make it last a little bit longer, I suppose.
I guess so.
I'm not really sure if it's worth it, but he apparently thinks it is.
I feel like you leave it just barely not finished, even though it took some damage, so you can cancel and get your money back. God, I hope everyone's okay. What was that sound?
People are running. That could be kind of bad. But in this game, we do see it's going to be... Morgan doesn't seem to be panicking, so we're probably
Morgan would be the one to panic.
Yeah, he's not sprinting just yet.
I just think all sound stopped, so I think one of the speakers blew up, right?
Actually, yeah, that did sound like a speaker overloading or something. So that's unfortunate.
As long as everyone's okay. You know what? If a speaker or 2 has to blow up, what's Mike saying?
I don't know. But people are still cheering, so I don't think it can be too bad.
Yeah, of course, go on.
We're interested.
Weirded out if we have to run for our lives now or something. Okay. So Hellions are going to go ahead and prolong the annoyance of that engineering bay. One thing I'd like to say, Greg, as I'm losing my train of thought, we did see a DDE game before this.
Where he did this exact same thing?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, he's actually getting a starport with this one, so it's going to have probably a medevac along with it, which makes it obviously even more powerful. Actually, no, it's not the same build at all.
He's got double reactor. It's not the Marauders. It's not the Marauders.
So yeah, this is going to be the much more standard Hellion Marine medevac poke. Not sure if he'll get... Because that starport isn't next to the factory. Normally what happens is you lift the factory off, you drop the starport down, you get a reactor medevacs out. But with the starport over here, I think he may go for additional Hellions, as DD is prone to do. He loves Hellion-based builds. And just get out 1 or 2 medevacs and then go poke with that army.
And it's interesting, even at this 8-minute and 40-second mark, we're still seeing the reactor on that factory. Until moments ago, Hellions were still being produced. Now there are some roaches coming at an annoying time. This is uniquely when the Terran doesn't have that much stuff. Marauder walks out, but with just 4 roaches here and nothing coming up behind it, it's more of a poke and a prod than anything else. He's actually in danger of losing all these guys. Yeah,
Ostojiy really just made those to clear out his 3rd base, get that 3rd hatchery down, and then go back to the macro game. We see he has a macro hatchery coming. He has the double the double evolution chamber upgrades going. He also has his lair on the way. So this is just kind of a little annoyance.
This is really weird, to be honest.
DD is kind of like under-preparing, and more units are randomly coming in from Ostojiy because he felt he saw a weak point, but just too many Marines from DDE, and those roaches might all get chased down. It looks like they should. They're all very low health.
It's like they had like a suicide pact or something, and he wasn't going to leave until they died.
Yeah.
They did surface damage. I mean, they just did very little.
They killed quite a few Hellions. That was a nice... At least he got something out of that. Had DDE controlled it better, he wouldn't have actually gotten any kills at all, I don't believe.
I think that's my problem, is it shouldn't have done anything. And the mere fact that it did very little still unimpresses me. But without the Hellions, this is actually interesting. He's going to push across, and okay, there's like a 4 Zergling counter. That's very odd as well. But actually, Ostojiy's kind of coming apart right now, is he not?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing. He has a Baneling that's done. As soon as he morphs in some Banelings, he'll be able to hold that off. But the hatchery may just go down first. There's very few roaches out here. That one medevac, a couple of Marauders to tank. He has Stim. It's kind of a scary force, but roaches are very, very good at dealing with this. Not a lot of medevacs.
It's the army control of Ostojiy right now. Like, the hatchery will go down. It's going to get focused down.
It does go down, yes.
And at least 8 guys is getting away from here. I think the Marines will get loaded up. Can't really stim too much more.
If he actually takes that fight, those Marines are way too soft. He needed to pick up and run. He does get away with a Marauder and 3 Marines. Could have been a little bit better. As you said, he should have picked up and lifted off. But killing that 3rd hatchery, killing a bunch of units, and forcing a lot of unit production out of Ostojiy, that was absolutely worth it for DD. And he's transitioning out of it fairly nicely, putting up his Stumble Engineering Bay, or pardon me, his 2nd Engineering Bay and his Armory. Also his 3rd and 4th gas. He has his 3rd Command Center on the way. And this is what DD's done in all of the TVZs we've seen of him so far. He just he does pressure that almost feels like it's strong enough to be very dedicated, but at the same time he's transitioning out behind it. He's continuing SC production. He's getting up his tech and his upgrades. It's just a really scary style of play against, unless you're absolutely prepared for the attack and you just destroy it from the start.
I mean, to your point, ooh, look at this weird engagement here. Queen actually goes down as well, but he's going to lose the medevac if he's not careful. Careful, and it does go down. So the last of that force will die, as well as the medevac. But I want to say, it's like you can almost count on DD doing something between 10 and 12 minutes. There will be an attack. And behind that, he's taking his 3rd, and he's just kind of gearing up. It's not a tech switch per se, but it's the entry of tanks. It's the entry of the 2nd Engineering Bay, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
just adding on, continually getting more powerful behind aggression. And if you can execute that well, as DDE does, that's so incredibly scary. Because you never really feel comfortable as a Zerg player in that situation. And another attack coming in here takes out the Queen, might kill that hatchery, killing a bunch of units here as well. And again, Ostojiy's unit control just not really on point. His flanks coming in at different times. Honestly, it looks like he's playing really tired and sloppy.
And he said he would, actually, in the chat. He was going to talk about how tired he is, and it's showing. But I'll tell you, he's not playing tired. DD is doing such a good job getting his army in that perfect angle.
A huge fungal on all of the Marines there. That might actually allow him, it does allow him to save the hatchery and kill a lot of units. But that was still a very good trade for DD. If we look at the supplies, DD is up at 98, Ostojiy at 89. And the only thing going for him here is that DD hasn't taken that 3rd base just yet, and there is creep
These guys are late to the party.
Yeah,
come on, DD, we're just complimenting you so much. That doesn't make any sense at all. The Zerglings are going to run down the remaining 3 Marines of the, 6 or something like that. DD, and actually, this is a bad rally.
Yeah, DD does tend to just kind of drift units in piecemeal, adding them into attacks. And as long as your initial wave of units stays alive, that's great. You continue to reinforce. However, you have to be very, very careful about pulling them back once the wave is broken, because obviously you just end up losing units for free, as he did there.
No siege mode just yet. Only 2 attack along the way to join on the 1-1 with that bio army for the Terran. And it's going to be Marine tank, the regular composition, medevacs, Marines, and tanks, excuse me. Whereas for the Zerg player, we're seeing what is, I would say, the standard composition these days. It's like Ling Infestor, but more of a Baneling emphasis than we used to see back in the day when it was Ling Infestor. Banelings are really, really common these days.
Yeah, people have just kind of realized if you get a big fungal on a big pack of Marines, that does a lot of damage. But if you get a fungal on a pack of Marines and then roll in Banelings, they just all die, which is quite a bit better than doing a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage, actually. And now these Zerglings getting hold position to that mineral line, doing a lot of damage themselves.
Pretty good Zergling harass. If we look at workers lost, 6 of them for DD, only 2 for Ostojiy. Lost.
Well,
and Ostojiy is kind of getting pretty big here. He has creep going in a lot of different directions. He's starting to establish this 3rd base. DD's own 3rd base is not particularly quick, so it's not bad that it's taken him this long to get it up. He has 2/2 upgrades before the +2 weapon of DD, and DD hasn't even started +2 armor yet. So, and again, more Zergling harass here, actually cleaning out this entire mineral line.
Really nice move.
A nice little wave of units swinging around from the back here, but really just not a gigantic army for Ostojiy. He might be hard-pressed to hold this off.
I mean, the Terran is pushing forward, and I keep looking around for Ostojiy's army.
It's actually just not
there. It's just 3 infestors. He's going to go for it. And he does get through. The depots are still up, or down, excuse me, as it were. And
1 bunker, but only the Marines, only 1 Marine in it, and he has enough here to actually go and take that out. A big fungal on a lot of SCVs, and the Banelings rolling in. Those can take out all the SCVs. Nice infestor eggs actually blocking some of the repair.
The danger here, though, Greg, is it's a thin army elsewhere. Like, the natural will go down, but there's a rule book somewhere that says don't base trade with a Terran. I mean, I feel like unless this army gets fungled out here, now the tank's sieging up. Banelings coming down the pass, they can't do that either.
He does not want to engage there, but he did back away, and DD is kind of retreating with those units. And if he does pull away, then this base is up for Ostojiy, whereas DD is kind of just sitting on one base. He has no mining here. He has been forced to lift here.
Yeah.
So I think in this situation, that was a pretty good decision by Ostojiy.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out okay. It just makes me a little bit nervous. The main's getting mined out. Greater Spire is on the way, but the third's been sniped for the Zerg player. Whereas the Terran player's kind of going home to clean up what's been done, but he has 3 orbitals. Harvester count-wise, only 21 harvesters, so he's actually in kind of Puma shape in that way.
That's
a
half
little
a Puma.
bit bad. What's that?
Puma sits at 55 SCVs. That's half
right.
a Puma.
I apologize. And now he's on the warpath again. There are infestors out for the Zerg player, but this is a precarious moment because he just added corruptors, and those corruptors are nothing but dead weight for the next chunk of time here.
Yeah, all they can do is shoot down the medevacs, which is nice. It's good for cleaning up, but it doesn't help in the actual engagement. And what he needs to do right now is survive. That
Such
Greater
a strong
Spire
position.
is still 45 seconds away. He doesn't have that long. He just can't afford to wait.
Actually just whiffed on a fungal, and he can't afford to do that. The Zerg's going to push forward here now. Lings and Banelings alike, but only 3 infestors and just a few fungals are in there. The Terran's doing a great job of using this high ground to his advantage. A lot of medevacs here, by the way, which does nullify fungals to a certain extent. And again, he whiffed on another fungal. I really think hitting medevacs.
A huge fungal got 4 of the medevacs, and near the corruptors are kind of helping out. They're shooting a lot of those down. Using those medevacs is really big, because what DD wants to do right now is poke ahead with a handful of Marines, as we saw. But without the medevacs, he can't heal the Marines, so he sends forward.
I mean, it is a big deal, but it's just...
Actually, if we look at the army, DD is kind of getting whittled away here, and Ostojiy keeps producing more Lings. He's using them really intelligently. He has quite a few infestors here. I think he's just going to wear this down. No medevacs. Those Marines are going to get soft very, very quickly.
Now the siege tank is in range of the hatchery itself, but like you said, he is getting whittled down. He's having a tough time reinforcing because behind this, he's having a tough time employing people to mine minerals right now. His SCP count is still just slow.
Yep. These infestors doing
lower.
great
Yeah,
damage.
it's 15.
And 5 Broodlords are on the way and nearly completed. Plus, he killed off that forward tank that was in range of this. He's putting up another hatchery.
He's in great shape.
Yeah, Ostojiy has actually stabilized himself. He's gotten himself into a really good position, despite all the pressure DD was putting on him.
I think once the Broodlords come out, it might be an insta GG because DD is just running out of money. He's barely able to afford Marines as it is.
And Marines not really going to hold on to well. Here come the Broodlords. They will just completely break this position. This hatchery will survive, and DD GG's.
And I don't blame him. That's not a premature GG. Actually, back at home, Ostojiy is doing a fantastic job of killing SCVs, but even keeping orbital command centers floating, which means they can't land and drop their mules.
Yep.
And those little hiccups in production equated in an unreinforced push at the front lines, which meant that eventually got whittled down, like you said. And that's all Ostojiy needed.
Yep. And one thing that I really liked there was actually the corruptors. I know we talked about it. We thought it was kind of a poor decision a little bit too early. It wouldn't help. I've actually seen Sleep do that intentionally. After he wins a battle, he'll mix in corruptors to prevent the medevac retention. That is what makes fungals so useless in some of those situations. And that actually might have been what won it for Ostojiy.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll get back into this next game and see if DDE can respond.